Hey friends, and welcome to a new behind the illustration video, which is exclusive to Patreon. And in this video, I want to show you how I illustrated this drawing that you can see right now, which is the illustration of the tiny squirrel, his sunflower, and this dragon drinking tea. So yeah, I'm gonna go through the sketch and the final coloring of the illustration, tell you a little bit about my thought process and why I chose certain things. And I'm also going to reveal a mistake I did with this one. So yeah, get yourself a cup of tea or coffee or an iced cold drink, whatever, and enjoy this video. So with this illustration, which is this month Happy Mail print, I wanted to combine like late summer vibes also with early autumn vibes, and therefore I chose a dragon, which I had already drawn before, and some people have commented that they would like to see a dragon as part of a reward series. And to make him look more autumnal, I made him orange and show some yellow like parts of his body. And what says more like late summer early autumn than sunflowers? So I chose a sunflower also to be included in this video, a mushroom that is more of a hint of autumn, and in the end I chose a squirrel as his friend. And yeah, I'm gonna tell you more about the squirrel when I talk about the sketches, but this is basically like the thought process behind this illustration. And now let's get into the sketches. So sketching is always the hardest part for me, as I tend to overthink an illustration, so I have to be really quick with sketching. So as you can see, like I knew I wanted to illustrate a dragon on a mushroom and added a tiny cup of tea to make it more cozy. And then I wanted to include a friend where he was looking at. And I wanted to draw a mouse because I haven't drawn a mouse in a really long time, but ended up reusing an older sketch of the tiny squirrel because I couldn't get the mouse to look right. And I just add some leaves and some flower assets to give myself like a feel for the illustration. And that's basically it for the sketch. And then I started illustrating. So coloring is the part I enjoy the most, as long as I have pre-planned the illustration well enough. In this case, I knew what colors I wanted to use. I knew I wanted the dragon to be orange, and that made it easier to find colors for the rest of the illustration. So a darker orange would be great, and then I added a red and a yellow, and everything that's darker I did in a dark reddish brown. All those colors really matched well together. And this time around I did every part of the illustration separately. So I finished the dragon with all the shadowing and all the parts that are part of the dragon, basically, like the shadows, the tiny details and stuff. And only when I finished the entire dragon, I started to illustrate the mushroom and then the other parts of the illustration. This way, I can reuse those parts in other illustrations because I can export them as a PNG and use them in other parts, which I did, for example, with the tiny squirrel for the sticker sheet, or for the pattern I did for you to as your printable download. And yeah, now I did the squirrel, and the squirrel colors are similar to the dragon but a little bit more muted because I chose the same colors I did when I drew the squirrel first. And so it's a little bit different to the dragon. It's not as vibrant as the dragon, which I easily could have done, but I think that makes the illustration look a little bit too like matchy. I don't know if like I don't know real words for that, but I think it's just too close together because the background also features similar colors to the squirrel and the dragon. The squirrel and the dragon took me the longest, and after them I started illustrating the background, the flowers. I had some trouble with finding a green tone that matched the oranges and the reds, but I didn't want to make the entire illustration orange or brown because I think that would have been too autumnal. I wanted it to be like more of a late summer vibe, and so I chose actual greens, and I really wanted to use very vibrant greens. So just like with the squirrel and the dragon, I illustrated each layer, each part of the illustration separately, finished the shading, finished the outlines, added a couple of plants here and there as I went. And yeah, I think the illustration really lives with the background and with the plants and the added flowers and stuff. That makes like most of the illustration makes it more alive. And basically that's the finished illustration. I love to add a sunset or a sunrise. Some say it's a sunrise, some say it's a sunset. And to make the illustration a lot more warm and cozy, and a little bit of steam from the teacup and blowing leaves. And that is the final illustration. The illustration took me a while to finish. I sat down a couple of times to finish it, and in the end I really loved it. And now I want to tell you the mistake I did, because this is a horizontal format. I usually draw at a square format so I can reuse the illustrations later on for Instagram or for my portfolio, where I only use square formats because I really like that format. But with this one, I illustrated it in a horizontal format, and now using it for a square format, I would have to crop it a lot, and with that, a lot of the illustration gets lost. Like the dragon is too high up and the squirrel is too far down to actually make them both fit into a square. I would have had to add the background and more of the background later on. So that is my big mistake for this illustration. I cannot like really make it into a square other than to sit down and illustrate more of the background, which I don't want to do. Like if I finished an illustration, I'm finished. I don't want to do anything else to it. So this time around, it was really hard to make it into a Instagram post, which is very unfortunate. So next time I really have to make sure I illustrate it as a square format first, then see if it works on a vertical or horizontal format, like a longer one, and then illustrate the entire thing. And then I have all the options of how I want to crop it for portfolio or for Instagram or whatever. So that was the mistake I did. But overall, I really, really love the illustration. I hope you liked it too. And I hope you got some insights of what I did while illustrating. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye!